Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Please go ahead, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. This really helps out the channel. And a big thank you to everybody who already has. I'm overwhelmed with the amount of support the channel has gotten already, and I can't thank you all enough for that. So, with all that out of the way, let's see what we got today. And we are live.
Who is the Pope? He is the Emperor of Rome. Rome never died, never faded away. It became the Vatican. What is the Vatican? It is the priesthood of all of the old pagan religions of Rome, built upon the deception that they are Christian. Can man change the orders of God? Can man elevate himself above God? No. Then why did the Pope change the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday, the venerable day of the worship of the sun Osiris? Why in the outer courtyard of the Vatican is there a temple of the sun, an obelisk, and a reflecting pool built as a fountain around the base of the obelisk? Because what we're talking about in Dealey Plaza and in Washington, D.C. exists also in the Vatican. And I'm not trying to insult Catholics, I'm just trying to tell you the truth.
You know, he's right. The Vatican is the embodiment of evil, in my opinion.
No, night vision now, it's green.
Yep.
But in the Vietnam War, the night vision goggles that they were issued were red light.
Okay.
Multiple people in the U.S. military that were using them were seeing what they're reporting as flying demons.
Ew, stop.
And so there's an instance where they're flying these helicopters in Vietnam. It was a safe zone, no hostility. And then the gunner in the back just started shooting. And the pilot's like, what are you shooting at? This guy, he was like panicked.
Yeah.
He's like, the demon. Apparently this giant winged demon creature was like flying at him. And then people on the ground in the jungles that were using it, they were also seeing like these demonic, freaky looking creatures. And so the military banned those night vision goggles.
What?
And they replaced them with green light. Apparently a lot of these dudes, they were shook to the core of everything that they saw with these goggles on.
Did the bullets work?
That was my
I thought it was just
follow-up.
prayer.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've looked into it a little bit because I heard the same thing. They were putting stuff inside the goggles. The
They were
chemical was
tripping.
literally leaking, so they were literally tripping. Or
Like it was a hallucinogenic drug.
That's a theory, but it's not confirmed.
This scientist invented a way to see the astral realm. In the 1920s, a scientist by the name of Walter Kilner poured a blue-colored dye called dicyanin onto a glass screen in hopes of creating night vision goggles. After putting it on, he realized it blocked out most of the white light, allowing humans to see the aura of each other. The chemical was made illegal, but the military were quick to weaponize it, creating the first pair of night vision goggles. However, during the Vietnam War, when this piece of technology was handed out to the helicopter pilots, chaos soon followed. The pilots started firing on each other, claiming that they were firing at demons that were coming to get them, describing the experience as looking into hell. The officer in charge didn't believe it at first, but subsequently every time the goggles were used, similar events took place. Eventually, the officers and pilots were told not to use the goggles ever again, but it got many thinking if.
Yeah, apparently you can buy these. They're available on Amazon, so.
I have no idea how this is my first time hearing about that gene or the mutation, but like you're absolutely correct. It says, this is what Google says, mutations in the MTHFR gene can affect the body's ability to process amino acids, namely homocysteine, which can lead to some adverse health outcomes. Homocysteine plays a major role in cellular metabolism and protein synthesis. It also has been associated with inflammatory responses. I did know that a lot of these things were caused by inflammation responses and chronic inflammation, but I didn't realize that there was like this gene not working right and causing that type of inflammation. I could see how inflammation could be the root of all these issues. You know, whenever I go see any sort of specialist and they do some sort of scan, you know, I've done the whole body by now. There's always chronic inflammation, like in my stomach, my esophagus, in my colon, there is chronic inflammation patches. Is that what endometriosis is? Doesn't that feel kind of like inflammation, stuff spreading? Just trying to figure out the science. I really feel like we're getting somewhere. I don't know where, but I'm liking making all these connections. It's been really fun.
Yeah, my son has autism and my wife has endometriosis.
One of the most common gene mutations in the world is called MTHFR. It's called the motherfucker gene. 40 to 60% of the population has this gene mutation. And what this gene mutation does is it interrupts the ability to convert folic acid into the usable form called methylfolate. And if your methylation is broken, you get things like anxiety, anxiousness, depression, ADD, ADHD, OCD. You have trouble falling asleep because your mind keeps you awake. And then what we've done since 1993 is we've sprayed all of our grains, all white flour, all white rice, all white bread, are sprayed with this chemical folic acid. So when you spin a box of crackers around, it says fortified whole wheat flour or enriched bleached white flour. That means it's been sprayed with folic acid. Well, 44% of the population can't convert that, and this causes things to go haywire. I mean, if you're a parent and you're listening to this podcast, look at what you're feeding them. The standard American diet is going to be like a Pop-Tart, a white bagel, a bowl of cereal, right? And all of those are fortified with folic acid. Well, there's a 44% chance your kid can't process that. And you're amping them up in the morning. It can literally be like cocaine for a 6-year-old. It's a full contact sport to get them in the car, and then by the time they get to school, the call's coming home saying, hey, little Johnny can't pay attention. He doesn't focus. He can't concentrate. He doesn't follow directions. Can't pay attention.
Get him on Adderall.
Yeah, get him on Adderall or Ritalin.
Is there a benefit to taking methylfolate in supplement?
Huge benefit to taking methylfolate
And
at the methylated form of that nutrient. This is why I say if you find that you have one of those gene mutations and you supplement for their deficiency, magic things will happen in your body.
As a parent of a child with autism who has had no success, this isn't true.
Chemically injected watermelons in our marketplace, here's how you identify them. I'm cutting open this watermelon here, and as you can see, when I pat the flesh, it looks pretty red. Now here's an entirely different watermelon, and look what happens when I pat the flesh. Look at the difference between these two. The one with the dark red has definitely been treated with or injected, even worse, injected with a chemical called erythrocine. Erythrocine makes watermelons look redder, but here's the big issue. Erythrocine is a gut toxin that is made from petroleum that could damage your microbiome, and it's a bioaccumulator, meaning it can be stored in the fatty tissues of the body. It can affect a person's brain and possibly even their hormones and make them sick over time. And the worst part is you and your family have probably been eating erythrocine for years because it's found in just about everything. Like breakfast cereals, watch out kids, dairy products, frozen foods, juice drinks, again, we have to watch out for our kids, and so much more.
Yeah, pretty much everything has been poisoned. Like everything.
All of what you see today are all just cheap knockoffs of the past, shelved until they could figure out a way to maximize profit off of it, while producing it as cheap as possible. Check out this 1950s electric skateboard, or even further back. How about the 1940s? Now, these technologies might not have been perfect back then, but it always amazes me how almost 100 years ago and beyond, their inventions just had so much more diversity and innovation. Here's the Autopad, the 1915 version of both electric and gas scooter. I bet all these two-wheeled scooters you see are much more durable and reliable than those lithium-ion batteries we have now in our scooters. The next one isn't battery powered, but it's still pretty darn cool. Just shows another example of the many different varieties of awesome innovations on two wheels from our past that all seem more solid and well built than any cheap plastic thing we get sold to us today. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
You know, the big question you have to ask yourself is why it's been suppressed and why you don't know about that.
I think we're seeing that our timeline really began right around 1700. I think this is when all of the structural things, like governments, banks, the foundation of our civilization, I think this is when it all began. And this is all based on what we're being told, the dates that they provide us, the information that we are given using their data. So we have the top 10 banks in the world. Now we have shown that so much has started within the last 300 years. Everything that we have today, that is a part of our civilization has been introduced within the last 300 years. And at the exact same time, right when we get the USA, right when we get these banks, these currencies, right when all this happens, this is the exact point in time that our civilization sees a massive spike in population. At no other point in time have humans repopulated at this rate of 66% increase every 69 years. Billions of people at a rapid pace. According to the mainstream narrative, we are told that we're at our peak right now. We are the most advanced civilization ever. We have the most technology. We have the most amount of people, when this is simply not true in my opinion. I believe that we have been given all of this technology back. I've said this before, but it is so true. I believe that our civilization is as advanced as we're allowed to be. We see these inventions just flying at us in the 1800s. Cars, phones, TVs, electricity, planes, you name it. When you're in charge of controlling an entire civilization, 300 years is nothing. To us, the 1800s were a long time ago, but in reality, this is nothing. We are being told that AI is a brand new thing, when it has, in my opinion, been here a very long time. And if we're being shown AI, could you imagine what else is not being shown to us? Thinking logically and using the information that we're provided, in my opinion, we are pinning this narrative down. We are finding our civilization's beginning point. And the more people that see this, the more people that understand this information, the more people that we have researching and looking for the truth, the probability of us finding the truth about our past becomes more and more eminent. All of this explains why we have buildings sitting in all of our cities and most of our towns that don't fit into our timeline. They don't look anything like the way we build today. And the only way to explain it logically is that an advanced civilization was here before us that fully understood how to create massive palaces. And it was a civilization that was worldwide. We see these cathedrals and basilicas in every single continent. It's not like it was just limited to a single location. This was a worldwide understanding, and something massive happened to them. And right around 1700, our civilization began occupying this land, with their work looking us straight in the face.
Yeah. His channel is called My Lunch Break. You should check it out.
Why do we keep sacrificing beauty for function? We've forgotten the power of beautiful surroundings. Think about it. Spaces still inspire us, but it's often the older ones that do. Modern buildings tend to focus on function, leaving little room for beauty or inspiration. We've accepted sterile offices, waiting rooms, and soulless classrooms. Bland environments don't just make us feel bad. They subtly send the message, nothing happens here. They demoralize us and stifle creativity. By tolerating ugly spaces, we're accepting a hidden tax. They drain our energy and limit our potential. This isn't just about aesthetics, it's about human potential. When we prioritize efficiency over beauty, we strip life of its richness. But beauty and function can coexist. In architecture, design, or everyday objects, beauty keeps us hopeful and inspired, even in a world driven by efficiency. Let's invest in beautiful spaces. I just know it elevates human potential.
Absolutely. Bang on. Bang on.
I've been in rooms at the top of the top, which albums are prayed over demonically. Music is prayed over demonically. That goes out to the world, goes out to the radio stations, goes out to the public. And when you see that stuff and know that stuff, it's frightening. Hollywood is doing a great job of it too, because that's what it's there to do, is to make you think it's all nonsense, of course. And if you think it's all nonsense, then the devil's laughing, and it's very real.
What do you mean by that, Shane, prayed over demonically?
So rituals, ceremonies, everything to bring, to give light to the devil, to Satan. It's a satanic music industry. That's majority of what it is.
Do you mean figuratively, or do you mean literally you've been in...
Literally, yes. For all your Sam Smiths, to your Dojo Cats, to your Beyoncés, they are so demonic, it's unbelievable. And we can't, it's in front of us. It's something that we kind of go, oh, it's just music. But it really isn't.
It's been taken over. It's witchcraft at this point.
A 2x4 in 1918 had more than 60 rings in it. But yet the same size 2x4 in 2018 only has 16 rings. This is much more pest resistant, it rots way slower, it is stronger, and all around better than this form and structure of wood. So what's the difference? And how does this impact our health and our DNA? You may be shocked. Victor Schauberger was born in the early 1900s in Austria. He studied forests and streams and noticed peculiar things that mainstream science at the time had no idea about. He went on to invent many different devices and techniques for logging, ones that he believed would enable the forest to remain intact despite being able to harvest timber from. And what he warned against, unfortunately, was not heeded. The delicate balance in a forest is very important. When you cut down the biggest trees of the forest, modern forestry says you'll give more light to the smaller trees and they'll grow faster. They will grow faster, but at the cost of being much less structurally sound. You need the mother tree casting shade across all the other trees to help them grow slow and steady. But when you cut down the biggest trees, the sun warms up the soil, which actually negatively impacts the soil microbiome, the bacteria in the soil. A forest is meant to be shady and cool, and this causes a disruption to the health of the water in the ground and the beneficial bacteria, aka nutrients, that ends up in the food grown. Schauberger warned that this would affect human consciousness because the minerals and foods grown would have less nutrients in them.
That makes complete sense to me. Everything for profits.
What happens in the dark must come to the light. And there's only so long you can lie before the truth is revealed. So when I say I got your ass, oh, I've got your ass. So, Captain Robert Falcon Scott was a British Royal Navy officer and explorer who led 2 expeditions to the Antarctic regions, the Discovery Expedition and the ill-fated Terra Nova Expedition. And you ain't gonna believe what he found. Ancient ruins all over Antarctica. Oh my days, I knew it. I just knew it. The continent was too big for no one to have never lived there. And remember, old maps used to show Antarctica green with no ice. So I'm not surprised that we're seeing all of these ancient ruins. If people only knew that there's ancient ruins all over Antarctica, even a pyramid. Oh my diddy. And who were these people? I don't know. And what happened to these people? I don't know. But is Antarctica a frozen wasteland? I don't think so.
I'm inclined to agree. We all need to get a fleet of ships, and we just need to rush the peninsula and get past it. See what's there. Well, these people surely aren't feeling the effects of inflation, eh? You know, go figure. So we got a lot of good clips today, a lot of good ones. I would love to discuss all of these with you. In fact, I wanted to bring this up. In the comments, a few of you have asked that I share my opinion on some of these videos. Unless I have enough information on it, I usually just absorb it. I let it roll around. I don't say anything until I have enough information. But if you're genuinely curious how I feel about something or am starting to feel about something, please leave a comment and ask me. I do read every single one of them, and I try to reply to most of them. So yeah, absolutely. Just go ahead and ask me. I can only make these videos about 20 minutes long, so there's only so much I can squeeze into every episode, but I'd like to get to know all of you, so that's, like I said, I'm here, I'm in the comments, I most likely will answer, so yeah. But that's all I got today, guys. Thanks a lot for coming and hanging out with me, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. But until then, 80 Canadian, signing off.